What's up, guys? New video time. We're going to talk about fats now. We've already talked about protein and carbohydrates. We'll keep this one pretty brief. There's a lot of stuff that we could say about fat, but not all of it's useful to what we're trying to achieve here. But fats are the third major component of foods that we find, but also they act as not just a sole nutritional source, but it's something that we actually add to things in order to add flavor or to perhaps cook something as well. So fats are important in that regard. The number one thing that you need to know about fats is that of all the different things that we can harvest calories from, they are the most energy dense. If you have a given amount of fat as compared to a same amount of carbohydrate or protein, fats will have more calories per gram. If you're a stats nerd and you happen to want the number, well, there's around about 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, about 4 calories per gram of protein, around about 9 for fats. So fats serve a number of different roles in the body, but primarily what it is an auxiliary source or backup battery, if you like, for energy. Our bodies run on energy. We burn it, energy for everything that we do. And in order to make sure that effectively we don't die, we have this backup source. When we're talking about body composition, generally speaking, what we're talking about is either muscle gain or subcutaneous body fat manipulation of some kind, usually downwards. We tend not to want more of it. But subcutaneous body fat, what that means, it's a fancy way of saying fat under the skin. And it's one of the primary depots that we can store excess fat should we have consumed a lot of calories over some period of time. So that's really the function of fat, and generally speaking, if we want to lose it, then we have to undereat relative to what we've burned, and then the body has to dip into its own sources. But as for whether or not fat makes you fat, no, that's the domain of a calorie surplus. It doesn't really matter where those calories come from so much. But one of the great fears around fat intake is that it's fat that makes you fat. That's not necessarily something we need to worry about, but it does serve you well to know that fat has the most calories. As for food sources of fats, primarily we're looking at things like nuts, fatty cuts of meat, and so on. And we're also talking about condiments. We're talking about oils and things that we add to food to give flavor or texture or mouthfeel. In terms of how much you need per day, that's sort of a moving target. As we'll get to in later videos, the most important thing obviously is calorie intake, but how to set different macronutrients is something we'll talk about. But as a general rule, what I like to do is to use around about 0.5 gram to 1 gram of body weight in kilos of fat per day. That's usually a pretty good rule to go by. How you manipulate that depends on training variables and what it is that you're trying to do with respect to muscle gain or fat loss, and there are some little tricks that you can do there. But generally speaking, anywhere between 0.5 gram or 1 gram per kilo of body weight in terms of grams of fat per day is a pretty good thing to aim for. Thanks for watching. We've got some more videos coming up real soon. Stay tuned.